Hello. Okay, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, the 12th installment within the DCEU. The film continues the story of teenage Billy Batson, who, upon reciting the magic word Shazam, is transformed into his adult superhero alter ego, Shazam. Shazam, Fury of the Gods, for me, played exactly how I expected it to. It was very paint by numbers. Most of this film is in the trailers. There's no major surprises. And also this movie felt like, or it had these sort of 90s superhero vibes about it. Very much like Black Adam. Now Black Adam had 90s running through its veins, running through its core. But I enjoyed Black Adam a lot more than Fury of the Gods, to be honest with you. Technically, Fury of the Gods is a slightly better movie, but for me personally, I don't think it was as much fun as Black Adam. Now, I couldn't help but wonder, is this an effect also of knowing what's down the line with the DC Universe on film in regards to James Gunn? For me personally, it might be. Like, did I really want to follow these characters knowing that, you know, it's going to branch off into what I guess is going to be an alternative timeline? Why get invested? And perhaps that did kind of play a small aspect into my overall enjoyment of this film. Now, I do believe this is a very small problem that I had among many other problems that I had with this movie. One of those being, it just had nothing new. The story, we've seen it before. It had no emotional core or weight like the original movie did. There's a lack of character's growth and just journey. There is an attempt with Billy being afraid of growing out of foster care. So we do have some attempt at growing these characters and having somewhat of a journey, but they don't really focus on this as much as I would have liked them to. It just feels like they wanted to get to the next big action scene. And maybe more time with the younger version of these superhero characters to sort of build more of a relationship and dynamic between them all would have added more to the character's growth and emotional weight of this movie. But I just don't feel like we spend that much time with the younger versions to really see that evolve and grow. And as I previously said, they do touch on these really important themes like abandonment and losing family. And I really liked that, but it just wasn't executed that well. It could have been more and would have really allowed this movie to have been its own thing and stand out. Instead, I'm just left having somewhat fun, but ultimately a very forgettable experience. With that sort of added subconscious thought of knowing what's coming down the line with James Gunn. Look, we could still get the same character, but I feel like what this movie was really missing was to be its own thing, with something that would sort of really hit home with people emotionally, and it just really lacked that. They touch on it. They touch on those themes like family loss or losing your family and abandonment, but they just don't quite really focus on it. There is this particular scene that I really liked, and I thought it was done quite well, and it's Pedro's coming out moment. And I liked how it played out. It was very clever, I thought, but also would have had more of an emotional weight or impact if they had built up more of a relationship between these characters. And I felt like as a result of not having enough of that sort of growth and that development and that dynamic between the characters, that particular moment, which I thought was quite clever, just didn't quite work the way that I felt like it could have. Just this overall movie, it is very light, it's very fluffy, and perhaps a bit too light and fluffy for me. And I understand it's got more of a comedic tone to it, but it doesn't really mean you should skimp on those deeper themes. And talking about lighter tones, this movie, like the first, does actually have darker elements to it. Director David Sandberg comes from a horror background, and when we get those horror moments, those darker moments, we sure do get them, and I really like that. There are aspects that I really liked about the movie, just like the original, and I feel like they really push how far they can go with those darker, horror, scarier moments. and for me it never really affects the overall tone of this movie. I think it works quite well and it's balanced just right. For me, the biggest issues with this film was story and character. The ideas and themes are there, but they just get lost among all this CGI chaos. Zachary Levi is great again as Shazam, as well as all the actors playing younger versions. The performances are pretty solid all around. Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren I felt were quite hammy. I found them to be quite sort of 2D cartoony villains, and obviously I didn't really care for their motives, and there was never this sort of sense of a threat from them, you know, resulting in a lot of scenes just fall flat when maybe they needed a bit more emotional clout or impact. Ultimately, I feel like their performances worked for the type of movie we got in regards to the villains. You know, some may find it really fun, but for me just really lacked depth and heart, and what really made that first movie work. So, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. There are elements, ideas and themes that I liked, but they never really come together. It's a somewhat fun experience that I found forgettable. It's a very paint-by-numbers superhero movie with no depth or heart. Unfortunately, a very average experience for me. I don't think it's a terrible movie, but it's nothing special either. So yeah, they are my thoughts on Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and I will be giving Fury of the Gods a 5 out of 10. The one thing I do remember from the showing was the sort of the teaser or a trailer for The Flash, and I am really looking forward to that film. I'm really hyped for it. Okay, I'll admit a lot of it's because of nostalgia with Michael Keaton's Batman returning. You know, Michael Keaton is my Batman, so you know that's one of the sort of aspects of why I'm really anticipating The Flash this year. Unfortunately, a very average experience, Shazam, but what did you guys think? Please let me know in the comments below. Did you agree or disagree with anything I said? Let me know and let's get a discussion going. And if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see future reviews from a Welsh geek just ramble on, then please hit that subscribe button. It will mean an awful lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys soon.